Wave, wave, wave. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. All right.
I didn't like that.
Merriam-Webster defines addiction as the compulsive use of a substance known to cause harm. So why am I talking to you about addiction when the title of my speech is distracted driving? Well, think about it. If a person leaves from point A to point B, and typically their drive time is, let's say, 30 minutes. The commute is 30 minutes. During that point, between that point A and point B, you see most people on the road as you look around that they're on their phone. And it drives me nuts. I'm sure it drives everyone nuts seeing all these people distracted driving. It drives me up a wall. But if you think about that, that 30 minutes, people cannot keep their phone down. They have to be looking at it. They have to be checking Facebook, shooting a text, whatever the case may be. But let's think about smokers. Typically during a work day, smokers go about an hour in between smoke breaks. So smokers, a known addiction, smoking, these people can go an hour before needing another smoke break, but most people from point A to point B, this 30-minute drive, cannot not look at their phone. So that presents a lot of dangers for you, for everybody that's on the road, and whoever's making this decision of looking at their phone while they're driving. But what qualifies me to tell you about this? Well, it's affected me personally. It's affected me professionally. I'm a sheriff's deputy with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, so I deal with this a lot. And on top of that, I'm going to explain the dangers of it, and I'm going to cite some statistics from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and a study done by the University of Utah, as well as the penalties in the state of Colorado for distracted driving, for texting and driving. So first, personally, how this has affected me is in high school. I was a sophomore when one of my friends approached me saying, "Hey, Ashley Sorg has died due to texting and driving." What happened was Ashley was stopped at a stoplight, and a fellow teen was shooting off a text to her boyfriend. She comes around the corner at 50 miles an hour, smacks into the back of Ashley's car, and gravely injures her. She's alive for a couple days, and she succumbs to her injuries a couple days later. And so Ashley was a sophomore. She wasn't able to go to prom. She wasn't able to graduate with the rest of us. She wasn't able to create her own family or graduate college, all due to a quick 5 to 10 second text this girl was sending her boyfriend, and she made that decision. So, on top of that, professionally, almost all the time, I mean, I drive around a lot, I know you guys do too. During my drive time, I usually see about 10 to 15 people on their phone a day. And obviously, this is a lot more than what should be going on. And all the time I have to respond to accidents. Once I get there, sometimes people have the guts to tell me, "Hey, I was on my phone, I wasn't paying attention, I didn't see them," and I smack them. But most of the time I have to talk to a witness, I have to talk to someone else that says, "Hey, no, they were on, I watched them, they were on their phone, they weren't paying attention, ran that red light, hit that person." So, you get officer friendly coming up to you with a nice citation saying, "Hey, you were texting and driving." Most of the time I get people saying, "No, I wasn't texting. I was changing my playlist. I was checking Facebook. I thought I got a call. I thought I heard a text," whatever the case may be. That still qualifies. So texting and driving is a catch-all here in the state of Colorado. It's just a buzzword, basically, is this texting and driving. Technically, under Colorado law, the definition of texting and driving is the manual input of data into a cellular device that can be sent as data. So that's a lot of legalese saying, not quite. So that's a lot of legalese saying basically that you cannot. It's not just texting. It's Facebook, it's Twitter, it's all that kind of stuff. So you get officer friendly handing you this citation. First time, it's $50 out of your pocket. Second time, a little bit more, $100 out of your pocket. I don't know about you, but I don't carry around $100 with me all the time. So on top of that, if I can prove you endangered another motorist while you were doing this, while you were texting and driving, that's called careless driving. Once again, that's a broad term. What that means is if you're driving down the road and using your thummies instead of your eyes to drive, and let's say you drift into someone else's lane by not paying attention, If a person is in that lane and they have to change their driving habits, which means they got to speed up, slow down, swerve off to the side of the road so you don't hit them, you've just endangered that motorist, which means, once again, careless driving. Along with that, that carries a little bit more of a hefty fine. You're looking at $150 to $300 out of your pocket. And I don't know about you, once again, I don't carry $100, much less 3 times that, $300 in my pocket. Along with that, you could look at 90 days in jail. And once again, my job's not going to let me off for 3 months just because I wasn't able to not look at my phone. And so with that, you may lose your job. On top of all of this, you're looking at 4 points on your license for careless driving. These 4 points count towards, you got 12 total in a year. And 4 points is obviously well on your way to that 12. If you get those 12, then you could have your driver's license suspended and you can no longer drive in the state of Colorado. So, if all that's not enough for you, if you've got $300 to blow and you can spend 90 days in jail, I commend you because I cannot. But moving on, if that's not enough, let's look at the statistics of the National Highway Safety Traffic Administration. So in 2015, they posted statistics saying that a total of 10% of all traffic-related fatalities of distracted driving was totaled for 2015. And on top of that, 15% of the injury-related crashes were due to distracted driving. What does that equate to? Those are, when I first saw it, to me, those were teeny tiny numbers. I was like, 10%, 15%, that's not that much. I mean, really, that doesn't sound that dangerous. But let's break that down a little bit more. So 10% of the fatalities, that's 3,477 people. That's a big number. That's a lot more than I was expecting. 15% is 394,000 people. So once again, big numbers. That kind of puts it into perspective. But I'm going to quote the infamous Joseph Stalin on this. The death of one man is a tragedy. The death of 100 million people, that is a statistic. So what that means is when you see those big numbers, you kind of lose sight of, hey, those are people. And all you see is, hey, that's just a big number. That's a lot of people. So I'm going to break this down a little bit further. Let's take one off that number, 3,476 people. That one person in the 2015, what you can do is that one person died because either they or someone else made a decision that they were going to drive distracted. They were going to look at their phone. They were going to shoot that text, whatever the case may be. That one person lost their life because someone made that decision. That's a mom. That's a dad. That's a brother. That's a sister. That's a wife. That's a husband. That one person. Let's break this down a little bit more. 2 people, 3,475 people. Those 2 people could be riding in a car together, and you could save those 2 people by not making that decision. Back in 2015, if you made that decision saying, hey, I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm just going to get to where I need to go and spend these 30 minutes concentrating on driving here in the state of Colorado. Those 2 people, you could have saved 2 people by making that decision, and that number could have gone down by a lot. So, with all that being said, that with all those people you could be saving by making this decision. On top of that, the University of Utah also did a study, and that study showed that when you text and drive, it is comparatively that if you slam 2 beers and got behind the wheel of a car, that's 0.08 blood alcohol content, and forgive me for using this term, but this is the common layman term, you're legally drunk, and which is incorrect. Basically at 0.08, that means you are impaired enough to where you're endangering yourself and other motorists on the road. Your reactions are slower, all that kind of stuff. And so comparatively, if you text and drive at the same time, you are like that person that slammed 2 beers and got behind that wheel, based on this study. So once again, drinking and driving, very taboo. You got Mothers Against Drunk Driving, you've got the state of Colorado State Patrol putting out ads on TV. Very taboo subject, and everybody agrees you can't drink and drive. That's common across the board. But texting and driving, not so much. And you see, once again, you see people doing it all the time going down the road, and so but it's comparative. It's the same thing statistically, that if you text and drive, it's the same as slamming 2 beers. So with all this being said, think about that one person. Think about Ashley next time you text and drive. When you hear that hear that phone go off, when you have that urge to, update Tammy on Facebook saying you're going 90 miles an hour, all this kind of stuff. If you're thinking about that and you think about that one person, just keep the phone down and spend that 30 minutes, 35 minutes to get to where you're going and safely, so that way you can drive these numbers down. You don't have to look at that phone. You've got options. And so think about that and keep that phone down. Thanks.